ಮಣಿಪಾಲ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಸಂಯೋಜನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಣಿಪಾಲದ TMA ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮಿಲಾಪ್ ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ 2ನೇ ದಿನವಾದ ಇಂದು ಕೂಡ ನಡೆಯಿತು. ಕಲೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸುವ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಕಳೆದ 3 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಮಣಿಪಾಲ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಕಲೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮಿಲಾಪ್ ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸುತ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಸಾಧಕರನ್ನು ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ವಿಚಾರ ಸಂಕಿರಣ, ಸಾಹಿತಿಗಳ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನ, ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಸಂಜೆಯಂತಹ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಆಯೋಜಿಸಿ ಈ ಮೂಲಕ ಯುವಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಸದಭಿರುಚಿಯನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸುವ ಉದ್ದೇಶವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದೆ. ಇಂದು ಸಂಗೀತ ಸಂಯೋಜಕ ಅನಿಲ್ ಡಿಸೋಜಾ ಮತ್ತು ರೋಹಿತ್ ಕುಲಕರ್ಣಿ ಅವರು ಸಂಗೀತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸಲಾಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಅತ್ಯಾಧುನಿಕ ಸಂಗೀತದ ಉಪಕರಣಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಚಾರ ಸಂಕಿರಣವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತವಾಗಿ ಸಂಗೀತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸಲಾಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಮಾದರಿಯ ಉಪಕರಣಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದರು. ಸಂಗೀತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚುತ್ತಿರುವ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಯಿಂದ ಸಂಗೀತ ಉಪಕರಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಧುನಿಕತೆಯ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿವರಣೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದರು. ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ಸಂವಾದವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಡೆಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆಧುನಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸಂಗೀತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಹೊಸ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ಹಾಗೂ ನವೀನ ವಾದ್ಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಮರ್ಪಕವಾದಂತಹ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸಲಾಯಿತು. ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತವಾಗಿ ಮುದ್ರಣ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಮುದ್ರಣ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕಾಗಿ ಹಿನ್ನಡೆಯನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತವಾಗಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ತರುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ಮುದ್ರಣ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ತರಬಹುದು ಎನ್ನುವುದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀತಾ ಇನಾಮ್ದಾರ್, ತನಿಮಾ ನಿಗಮ್, ಮುರಳೀಧರ್ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಾಯ ಹಾಗೂ ರೋಮಲ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದರು. ಹಾಗೂ ನೀನಾಸಂ ಅವರಿಂದ ರಾಕ್ಷಸ ತಂಗಡಿ ಎನ್ನುವ ನಾಟಕ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸಲಾಗಿತ್ತು.
I would say that software, modern technology, hand computers that you see here, the toys that he was talking about, these are all very beautiful tools to bring a certain vision of yours into structure. It's like a drawing board. You use this expensive equipment, the equipment lying there on that table, what he was showing you is not exactly cheap equipment. So if I would like to use a finance term or a business term, it's very CapEx in that sense of the terms. It's a very capital intensive industry we are in. So these are, we use this kind of technology, this kind of computing, this kind of hardware, software in order to bring our vision to an end. But there are a lot of other things that this kind of stuff helps me do. Like Nihar is basically into advertising and the rest of it. There are some who are into feature, there are some who are into, even yesterday we had a wonderful session here about the lady who was into gaming.
Okay.
So gaming music is huge in the West. So some people are into gaming music. Whatever form of music, it is very important for my client to listen to, because it is all creative art forms are very subjective in nature. So somebody would consider it as good, somebody could consider it as not so good, somebody could consider it as downright bad. It's something that everybody has a right in terms of their opinion. But coming to Anil's point of view in terms of how I started my musical journey, as simple. Parents are not from the music fraternity, have no idea about professional music. Just used to listen to a lot of music. Probably they always used music as a stress buster in their professions. So I used to love to listen to music, and I became a part of that journey of listening to music and listening to music and listening to music ever since I was possibly like a 2.5, 3-year-old. I started listening to music. Heard music for maybe a couple of years thereafter, and then I suddenly realized that I used to put my hand on the harmonium and I could kind of play whatever music was playing. In those days we used to have a LP. There were no CDs so I would automatically play whatever I'm hearing. So this is what we call a Shruti, Sur.
When it comes to designing, there's no compromise on the quality of people we employ. When it comes to editing, we do not compromise on the per page payment that we make to a copy editors. That means we want the best of the people to come and work with us as copy editors. Please understand all this goes into the cost of production. And after all that, when I'm supposed to make a decision on the pricing of the book, I have a huge problem on hand. Because after doing all this, I don't know how many copies of the books that we are going to sell. Because most of the books, the kind of books we have been selecting are not those which would sell in thousands. The kind of books we have made, like Theatre History of Karnataka. I mean, how many people do you think are interested in reading a book of this nature? Or there are many other such books, probably on medical humanities, or some books which are very niche, not generally that a general reader would just pick it up and read, not just a fiction. So that Pramana, the very first book we picked up was Advaita epistemology book. And when we made it, how many people probably are interested, particularly reading this kind of a book? So I cannot go for numbers. When I cannot go for numbers, the per copy cost was very high. And here is a market for books which is very, very price sensitive. Particularly when it comes to Kannada books, I always fear that this book would not sell at all. And I'm caught between my production department and my marketing department, headed by husband and wife. And every time we have to decide on a pricing, they end up fighting. And so Revati, my marketing person, she always says, no, I want the price lesser. And our production person, Arvind, says, how can we'll make losses if this is how we're going to go with it.
And we're largely publishers, but I think I'm the only one who comes from a very mainstream magazine kind of a publishing. And the whole idea of, when we talk about publishing in the digital medium, confronting a new reality, the difference with Provoke is, it's run by a group called Paulsons, which is based out of Chennai. And the whole idea was to defeat the myth that the age of print is over. Because a lot of people kept telling us that, print is over, the days of print is over, newspapers are shutting down, magazines are closing down. But we felt that maybe there was something wrong in the way we were, dealing with this kind of, this medium. And so, as a challenge, last year, somewhere around July, we got together with the owners of the magazine, the original magazine, and we said, let's change it and let's take it into a different space and see if sales increase, if subscription increase, and it was basically an experiment. So last year in November, I took over the magazine and we decided to completely change. With the magazine industry, largely the focus has been glam, but we decided that we would get actors, musicians, politicians onto our covers, and we've had quite a few of them. But get them to talk about things that are relevant to society and not necessarily talk about their films and talk about their film careers and those kind of things.
As part of a tradition which had something to do with this solid book, as he was referring to the solid book, and I mean books, I mean journals, all kinds of journals, beginning with the late 60s when we were still young, all kinds of film magazines. So I have moved between two worlds, now I have entered the third world. But let me try to ask a very fundamental question of myself and of the world, the new world that we live in. If we talk of the digital age as new reality, is it really so? So let me go back to the origin, the arrival of the book for that matter. In fact, there are extraordinary studies dealing with the arrival of the book in the Western tradition. And then we will have to correlate to see what happens in areas like India. One of the great books is a book by Jean Martin and Lucien called The Coming of the Book, about 700, 800 pages. You see, it was in 1450, the middle of the 15th century, that new manuscripts started arriving in the West, which manuscripts which shook up the entire European society. And in fact, it's a very, very long story. The expression is old habits of thought were all displaced, shaken up. The book, the printed book. Notions of space and time altered. And more importantly,
ನನ್ನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಹೊಸ ತಲೆಮಾರಿನವರು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸಿದಾಗ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಕಲಿಯಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಬ್ಲಾಗಿಂಗು, ಹಾಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಭಾಷಣಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಉಡುಪಿಗೆ ಬರುವ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ನನ್ನ ಮಿತ್ರ ಸಾಹಿತಿಗಳ ಭಾಷಣಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ನನ್ನ ಬ್ಲಾಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಆರಂಭಿಸಿದೆ. ಅದು ಹೊಸ ತಲೆಮಾರನ್ನು ತಲುಪುವ ಒಂದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಮಾರ್ಗ ಅಂತ ನನಗನ್ಸಿತು. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ನನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬರು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರ, ನಾನು ಲಿಖಿತ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಲಾಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬರು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರ ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇರುವವರು ಆಮೇಲೆ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡಿದರು, ಸರ್, ನನ್ನಂಥವ್ರು ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಬ್ಲಾಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಲಿಖಿತ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸಿದರೆ ನನಗೆ ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆದಷ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಭಾಷಣಗಳನ್ನು